team. Some players reportedly hired 2 exotic dancers from an escort service to dance at a house party earlier this month. One of the women says 3 men raped, strangled, and robbed her. No one's been charged and no one on the lacrosse team is talking, but our Renee Chu shows us how neighbors are breaking the silence.
If it's metal, strike it. If it rattles, shake it. If it's wooden, break it. You're listening to the beat of outrage.
We're making this kind of noise because we're standing in solidarity with the women who've gone through this horrible atrocity.
Police say something horrible happened at this house, a gang rape.
I am enraged and disgusted that and embarrassed that something like this has happened.
No one has been charged, but police collected DNA samples from 46 Duke lacrosse players.
Wake up! Wake up! The sun is up! It's Sunday morning! Time to confess!
Time to come together, time to demand the truth.
We want the members of the Duke lacrosse team to come clean.
They haven't been convicted, but 30-something kids are remaining silent.
So this group is breaking that silence with instruments of percussion as instruments of change.
The banging of pots and pans is a practice that started in Latin America and has spread to other countries. They're the tools that women have in their kitchens, and they're what they use when they want to make some noise protesting domestic violence.
The noise created by the 150 protesters was loud enough to attract onlookers, not too loud to warrant police interference.
You can't run! You can't hide! There's nothing to do but testify!
With no one home, the only thing to do is post signs on the house and hope the message reverberates. Renee Chu, WRAL News.
City joining us now from Raleigh. Stephen Miller, a columnist for the Duke Chronicle, a student newspaper. You have 88 professors, actually 87 of them. One didn't sign this, they put out another letter saying we're not going to apologize. And I'm just stunned. Not only will they apologize, but they run away. We even called professors who weren't on the list to try to get an idea of what was happening on campus. They won't talk. You, a student, pretty much the only person who'll talk to us. What's going on?
Well, you have a situation here where, like a lot of college campuses, you have this segment of professors that's very powerful and very, very far to the left. And for the first time, a lot of students, and in a way the American public at large, saw the depths and the ferocity of that radicalism. And for the professors, for the first time, they were confronted about their radicalism, and now they're all running for cover, because if you take a professor that signed that ridiculous ad and sat them down and gave them even the most mild interrogation, they would fall apart, and they would look like the baseless charges that they were. And so you have a situation where, on the one hand, they realize there's absolutely no foundation for anything they did, but on the other hand, they're not going to confront the flaws of their own radical and divisive ideology.
But what kind of message does this send students who might want to take their courses? I mean, they're obviously, I think, irresponsible, these people, but everybody makes mistakes. They might have acted emotionally. All I have to do is say, maybe it was a mistake. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have jumped off like that, and let's have a discussion about it. But they won't even do that.
Well, that's the truly depressing thing about this, is you could have had a situation where they might have said, all right, look, we rushed to judgment, we thought something happened, it looks like absolutely nothing happened now, we made a mistake, we shouldn't have done it. But instead, they're standing by their original statement, which speaks to the fact that for them, this was never about what happened to this particular woman according to her testimony, nor was it ever about these players. It was always for them about their political agenda. And their political agenda has been from day one to make a big issue out of racism and gender and class warfare. If you look at the ad, 80% of the professors that signed it claim a specialty in either race, class, or gender. And they all clamored for wide, sweeping institutional reform that would give them more power and more initiatives and more money and all that sort of thing.
But why aren't the other professors on campus, and maybe the chancellor, speaking out and giving some kind of balance? Because right now what you have is a Columbia University situation. Duke is now being portrayed, and it may well be true, as a radical left university with no voices of moderation.
I think I speak for many students when I say that we're very, very concerned that 2 innocent people may have possibly just had their lives ruined.
Lord, your first concern is that somebody's falsely accused?
Don't tell me what my first concern is.
I was disturbed to see how people were saying, why aren't they coming forward? Why aren't they saying what happened? Why haven't they spoken out against other players? But no one said, wait, hold on a moment. What if they're innocent? What if they didn't do anything wrong?
And we are out of time, but I will say that these things don't happen in a vacuum. I understand your point, but it's also freedom of speech. People have a right, just like you're expressing your opinion.
They do, but it was prosecuted as a witch hunt from the beginning. People presumed their guilt, and in America, we don't do that.
Well, let's put it this way. The only person in this whole case that has any real significant evidence of wrongdoing against them is one district attorney by the name of Mike Nifong.
Well, that's the truly depressing thing about this, is you could have had a situation where they might have said, all right, look, we rushed to judgment, we thought something happened, it looks like absolutely nothing happened now, we made a mistake, we shouldn't have done it. But instead, they're standing by their original statement, which speaks to the fact that for them, this was never about what happened to this particular woman according to her testimony, nor was it ever about these players. It was always for them about their political agenda.
And I'll say this, the one person, again, who without question has behaved in an unethical, immoral, and sinister fashion is District Attorney Mike Nifong. He's pursued a case not because of the evidence, but in spite of the evidence. And the idea that in America you would pursue a case against 3 people when the evidence suggests not that they did it, but that they didn't do it, to me is beyond unconscionable.
A stunning development in a story that made national headlines nearly 20 years ago. 3 Duke men's lacrosse players accused of rape. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey shares that for the first time, the woman who accused them admits she made it up.
Today, we're following new developments in a story that shook Duke's campus and the entire nation. Crystal Mangum just admitted that she lied about those rape allegations years ago. She was recently interviewed from prison and appeared on the Let's Talk to Kat podcast. For the first time, Mangum says she made the whole thing up. Back in 2006, Mangum was performing as a stripper at a Duke men's lacrosse team party. She claimed that 3 players trapped her in a bathroom and raped her. But her story was inconsistent. Then Attorney General Roy Cooper dismissed all the charges against the men, declaring them innocent. In her interview, Mangum says she hopes the players will forgive her, and she says they should not have gone through what they did. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Durham.
And I testified falsely against them by saying that they raped me when they didn't, and that was wrong. And I betrayed the trust of a lot of other people who believed in me. And made up a story that wasn't true because I wanted validation from people and not from God, and that was wrong. And I hope that they can forgive me.
Can I get your reaction on lacrosse, sir? I know that you had some, I believe, involvement 18 years ago with the students at Duke accused of rape in lacrosse. Now we have this development.
I thought it was a hoax when it happened, the Duke situation. I didn't believe the woman, as you know, and they destroyed the lives of these kids. They destroyed, and I don't care what they got. Their lives have been destroyed. Their lives have been shortened by what took place. And now the woman admitted that it never happened. That is horrible. And as you know, I took a lot of heat when I said that this did not happen. And those kids were beautiful kids with beautiful families, and they were, in some cases, will never be the same. They will never be the same.